Alright, so in this video I'm going to show you just some of the nuts and bolts of Microcase, how to access it, what the data sets look like, etc. So if you're watching this, you've already installed the Citrix receiver. It should show up in your applications folder. See, there's mine. I can see that I've installed it. You don't actually have to click on that. It'll open automatically once your computer needs it, so hold that thought. First thing you want to keep in mind is that the receiver doesn't really play well with all browsers. It doesn't really like Google Chrome, for example. So if I go to the website, which is apps.csbs.utah.edu, and I log in, the first thing it will ask me to do is install the Citrix receiver, which I've already done. So for whatever reason, if you're using Chrome, you're not going to get it's not going to realize that you've already done that step, and so some people just get sort of caught in a loop and they just keep installing it over and over and over. So take home message, don't use Chrome for this particular assignment thingy. Firefox is probably your best bet. Safari's hit and miss, and I've honestly never tried to do it with Windows Explorer, so if I were you, I would just download and stick with Firefox. So I happen to have Firefox right here. So I'll go back to that same website, which is apps.apps.csbs.utah.edu, and I will log on. You notice that time it did not give me the option to install Citrix receiver because it actually knows that I have it installed at this point. So from here, you're going to go on your statistics folder. It's just a single click. You don't want to double click because that will it'll open the wrong program. So it's just a single click. Lots of times people double click and they end up opening RStudio, and they just can't complete their assignment because that's not the program that we're using. The one that we're using is called Student Microcase. It's this first one right here, Student Microcase Doing Sociology. It's a little bit confusing just because there are three of them. We have the research methods version, and then we also have the social statistics version. So we're going to be using this one. This one has the data that we need for our particular textbook. So I'm going to click on that, and you see here my Citrix viewer and receiver just sort of sprung into action. So you don't need to open it separately. It should open all by itself once your computer actually needs it. It does sometimes take a second, so if you have something to do, bring a book, I guess, maybe. So eventually you'll see this screen, Student Explore It, Untitled. You'll see most of these are grayed out. You can click on them if you wanted to. That's because we don't have a file open yet. So what we're going to do is open an existing data file. We'll click on that, and it should bring up this particular screen. And the nice thing about this software package is that all of these data sets are already sort of built in. It's self-contained, so you don't need to do any additional downloading, any additional installing, and the virtual lab does not need access to your local hard drive, which can make things a little bit difficult. Anyway, so if you look at the first chapter of your workbook, it says to open the survey data set. So you'll find survey, you'll click on it, you'll notice it has a check by it now, and you'll click open, then you can just click OK. And now we actually have things that we can work with. The first thing it asks you to do is to do a univariate analysis of suicide. So you'll click on that, and these are all of the variables that you have to work with. And if you click on one of these, it will actually give you a variable description. So on number 19, click on that. This is the question that was asked. Does a person have the right to end their own life if this person is tired of living and ready to die? Kind of depressing, but that's the question that they asked, and then there were two possible responses, yes and no. So I'll click on suicide and I'll have that as my primary variable. I don't need it to do anything with this box just yet, so I'll just click OK, and it gives me a nice univariate analysis of suicide. Apparently 83% of people said no, it's not okay to take your own life, and 16.9% said it was. So it's okay, well, I've done that. You can also look at it as a bar chart if you're so inclined, or bar charts with a cumulative percentage. So you can use these things on the side to sort of change what you're looking at. But I think the pie chart works fine. Now if we want to go back, we can go to the menu button. Now next thing it wants us to do is a cross tabulation. So we'll look at cross tabulation. Now we have two boxes. We have a row variable and our column variable. Now the book tells you to put suicide in the row variable box and then sex in the column variable box. So once we've got those two, again, we don't have to do anything with this box. So we'll just click OK. And now we have a nice bivariate table that shows the relative number of men and women who think it's okay or not okay to commit suicide. And again, if you want to look at this in a little bit more detail, you can look at it in terms of column percentages. It even allows you to do a stacked bar chart, which is not particularly helpful in this case in terms of visualization, but you nonetheless have the option. So I think that's a good enough walkthrough. I tried to anticipate as many issues as possible. If you do have any more issues, please let me know. Just so you know, there is a textbook on reserve at the library for those of you who are having trouble getting one. Totally understandable. So yeah, good luck, I guess.